If you're struggling to lose weight and you're wondering how my clients are up thousands of calories and down 20, 30, even 100 pounds, listen to this video because I'm going to explain to you a process of metabolism manipulation that I use with all of my clients that is one of the most predictable and the most strategic way to get lean and stay lean. So if you can keep feeling like you're stuck spinning wheels on the scale, not seeing any progress, watch this video in full and I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong. So right now you're probably eating under 2,000 calories. You may be doing a little bit of cardio, but it feels like in the last maybe month, 2 months, you've just kind of hit a wall, right? And no matter how much you do, how much cardio you do, how low you get your calories, you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. So my name's Adam Bono. I'm an online fat loss professional, and I work with 87 guys currently, and I've helped hundreds of men in the past get to the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been using a hormonal approach to actual dieting with key metrics, KPIs, and data to influctuate your hormones based on correct nutrition. So in this video, I want to explain to you exactly how I do what I do with metabolism manipulation called metabolic priming and why it's the most beneficial and predictable way to lose body fat and stay there. So what we do with our clients is like, one, you're probably in a place, like I said, that you're under a certain amount of calories. And it's not very uncommon for me to come across men who've been over dieting for extended period of time, lost 50, lost 60, lost 70 pounds. And, I typically work with guys who are 30 to 50, right? So first thing I want you to know right now that it is not your metabolism, right? As you get older, your metabolism doesn't degrade. You don't lose your metabolism as you get older. There's a scientific study done that even at 90 years old, like your metabolism only degrades about 20%. What has happened over the years is the food industry's gotten more saturated. We have car services, you drive more, and as you start to eat less food, you're now less active. So what's actually happening psychologically in your body is that when you start to eat low amounts of foods, a couple things occur in the body. One, you don't need to be afraid of carbohydrates because carbohydrates are what put your body in a parasympathetic state. Eating more carbohydrates is going to help you, one, lose a significant amount of actual inflammation in the body, but also a decrease in any sort of oxidative stress, any sort of cortisol levels. So cortisol levels in the body, what they do is they actually prohibit fat loss and prohibit muscle gain. So a lot of people who go through these upfront diets or very highly calorie deficient diets, one, what happens over time is your body starts to adapt, all right? And, guys who go through these highly restrictive diets like keto, carnivore, and they gain the weight back plus more, actually start to accrue even in what's called like even more metabolic purgatory sense to where like now you're like boxed in a corner metabolically, right? So as your time goes on, your body actually, one, starts to adapt to the amount of food that you're currently eating. A couple things that happen within the body actually start to degrade in the form of how you burn calories. Because it's not always about calories out, like what your app says. There's calories burned, and it comes from multiple different buckets, right? So the actual physical activity that you do, as you start to get lower in calories, start to do more of your physical activity. One, it doesn't have the same effect on your body. Slowly over time, your body adapts to cardio as well. So you don't have the same amount of calories you're burning, and 15% of your entire metabolism is just exercise activity. So you could be doing as much cardio as you want, and if you're highly inflamed, cortisol levels are high, and you've been doing it for some time now at the same speed, it doesn't have the same effect. So your body wants to conserve energy when you get to a lower amount of calories. So next is like thermic effect of food. So as you start to lower your calories over time, the actual thermic effect of food, which is how your body digests and burns calories in the calorie conversion process, starts to lower as well, which means now you're not eating as much food, so you're not getting as much a thermic effect of food. And then other thorns like non-energy activity thermogenesis starts to decrease as well. So psychologically, your body, when you get to very low amounts of calories, it wants you to move less, right? Psychologically, you're just wanting to move less, which means like maybe that you don't go up for that extra walk, or maybe that you sit on the couch a little bit more. And these are the things that you don't really plan on, right? Non-energy activity thermogenesis is like calories expended that aren't actually planned as exercise. So like fidgeting, like typing on my keyboard, walking to my fridge, like daily activities, and these can lead up to over 500 to 800 calories burned over the course of your day. That's a lot of calories. But as you start to get to low calorie amounts, you actually start to move less. And then the next one is just overall metabolism, BMR, your body's basal metabolic rate, resting metabolic rate, how many calories it takes your body to sustain essential body functions. So if you've lost a significant amount of weight and you're kind of stuck on the scale under 2,000 calories, there's an actual specific process of metabolism manipulation called metabolic priming that you can use to eat more food and lose more body fat. And that's the reason why my clients right here are quite literally eating hundreds of more calories and just down significant amount of weight, right? And even my clients we've been working with for some time now, down 100 pounds, down 100 pounds, down 40 pounds. And then we have clients that are just absolutely peeled out of this world that we have worked with as well. So it's needless to say that all of these guys are eating more food, right? All of these guys, I've done multiple case studies, multiple testimonials exactly on how this process works with my clients. And you're more than welcome to go check out all the case studies, but you're here to understand how this is possible. And I completely understand, right? It doesn't make much sense, I understand, on paper to eat more food and lose more body fat, but let me break down the actual science for you. So as you start to go through these low calorie deficient diets, one, your body starts to downregulate all the hormones, all your metabolic processes. No matter how much calories you expend, you're just kind of boxed in a metabolic corner. So one thing we do with our clients is the first thing off the bat is we give them correct macronutrients. So if you're not tracking calories right now, first of all, you need to be tracking calories because calories are important. But next, if you're tracking calories, you're not tracking macronutrients, that is also important as well. Even more specific, it's more important to track macros if you're trying to reach a certain body fat percentage because calories affect your weight, yes, to a sense, until you get boxed in metabolically. Macronutrients affect how you look, like the cosmetic appearance of how you look. And then actual micronutrients affect how you feel. So we need to get certain macronutrients in place. And each one of my clients uses this particular macronutrient profile because it tailors off multiple different things. One, your age, weight, height, which you've already been eating calorically wise, and then also what you do for a living. So like, for instance, like for guys who have highly active jobs on their feet a lot, these guys need more carbohydrates because the body's main fuel source is carbohydrates. So now that we have like one macronutrients in place, the first thing we want to do is get their metabolism moving again. So we have correct macros. So like, and the thing is that like, if you're following some profile that you've built on MyFitnessPal or some calorie counter that you can't find online for your macros, this doesn't know what you've been doing. It doesn't know your job. It doesn't know how many steps you do. It doesn't know how active you are through the day. And all these things matter. It's going to give you a rough estimate of percentage-wise, but you need to be understanding what you need bound to the actual gram. All of these guys, we train to track macros to a T, which is good for two specific reasons. One, it's good because as closer we get to tracking macros, the better that you look. Two, all the guys I work with guys who are very busy, who travel a lot, and we have travel plans for guys in place so they can go travel. We have places like, in structures and strategies in place when people go on vacations. And so like when you do these things, you can track macros based upon the foods that you have available. Like I have guys right now losing body fat and getting six-pack shredded off eating Starburst and jelly beans at the end of their day because they're tracking macros, and the specific macros is what matters. If you're with a certain gym trainer right now and you're just getting a PDF profile, what happens when you get bored of that meal? Like, you're just going to go back to eating how you were? You need to understand fully actually how to track macros to have sustainability, but also what you need macronutrient-wise to have longevity. So these clients, like, one, they're able to stay leaner for longer because they understand and they're educated. They understand how to go about certain circumstances within life that help them get there, that help them sustain the body fat percentage that they're at, and they continue to make progress, but also they're more comfortable. Because psychoactively, losing body fat is a psychological game as well. If you're restricting yourself from a certain carbohydrate and you're not actually learning what the carbohydrates do, like what happens when you go back to eating how you were? You're just going to go back to eating exactly how you were. You learn nothing. So psychologically, you need to understand to have flexibility means to have sustainability. So you can be more flexible, you can track macros, and you can be more sustained for longer understanding how to do this. right? And so it's a very psychoactive game with fat loss, and you even get into the psychology behind fat loss and like why people like regain fat over and over again and just tear their metabolism apart doing the same things over again. So like, for instance, now we have correct macros in place. Now we start including more carbohydrates and more protein, right? So we have a fat goal in place. We have a protein goal in place, and we match their actual calories based upon what they're already eating. So for instance, let's say a certain client comes to us and he's eating 2,000, we have him track for 3 days. So he's eating 2,000 calories times 3 days, right? And so he's eating 6,000 calories, right? So we divide that by 3, and he's on average eating 2,000 calories a day. Boom, right? This is just like a very vague estimate, but like this is what it would look like for you. Track your day of calories and then divide how many days that you tracked by by your actual total caloric amount for those 3 days. So we got 2,000 calories. The first thing we want to do is we want to set a fat goal, right? So fat goal is important from one, strategically setting the cascade of hormones, T3, T4, thyroid, testosterone. And so we want to make sure we're mitigating not getting too much fat in because it can interrupt digestion, right? So we set a fat goal, and then we set a protein goal, which is usually 1 to 1.2 times your body weight, because it has a higher thermic effect, which means that 30% of the proteins you eat gets broken down in the calorie conversion digestion process. So now we have a protein goal and a fat goal. Now we backfill the rest with carbohydrates to meet 2,000. Doing that right there, you already get a great body recomposition. So what we do next is we start slowly adding calories, right? We slowly started adding calories. So like most of my clients, right, they're up hundreds of grams of carbs. And what we're doing there is we're getting the body to burn more energy, right? We're pushing the body to actually move more. We're pushing the body to correct the hormone damage, and we're making sure that the metabolic processes in place are starting to accept within each client. And some clients usually, it takes maybe 2 weeks for your body to adjust, 3 weeks for your body to adjust. It all depends. But what this starts to happen is, one, the active hormone of T3, which is your body's active thyroid hormone, starts to raise, right? Which gets your body to actually burn more food. And then as that starts to happen, we start to watch your body, you start to tighten up, we start to use carbohydrates to decrease inflammation, decrease oxidative stress, fix a lot of that brain fog that's currently going on right now, and put your body in a parasympathetic state. So now we're decreasing a lot of inflammation, we're increasing muscular glycogen, so we're expanding the muscles into the skin, and stuff like this happens, like with my client Steven, right? This is a 6-week transformation. But what we did is this exact process. We structured his macronutrients right. We started giving him more carbohydrates, and we flooded his muscle with actual glycogen, which expanded the muscle, and we decreased a lot of inflammation around the way. And this is exactly how we do it. And we do this process, and we start to work your calories up, focusing on muscle growth. Right? So as we focus on muscle growth, we're training 5 days a week with each client's specific training plan based upon what they want to build. And as we're building muscle tissue, we're also building your metabolism, because your muscle in general is very metabolic, right? It has an 8 calorie per gram to sustain, as opposed to a fat tissue, which actually has 2 calories per gram. So we start to focus more on growing muscle tissue, raising your metabolic rate with more muscle tissue, and during this time, keep in mind, we're doing no cardio, right? We maybe have like a step goal in place, how many steps that you have to do. But as you start to go up and we're starting to build leverage, right? We're starting to build leverage in the form where we're not doing any high intensity cardio. So that means that our body's adapted to low amounts of cardio. And we're starting to raise your metabolic rate with more food, increasing muscle tissue, and increasing the rate your body's burning energy. And as you start to get more energy, what happens? The non-energy activity thermogenesis starts to go up. You start to get more active. You start to want to go do things. Me particularly, when I'm more in a metabolic priming phase myself, or I actually go to the gym, and I'm at the gym for about 30 minutes longer, just like psychoactively, because I like being there, right? When I'm on a little bit lower of calories, or like bringing my calories down in a calorie deficit, maybe I don't want to be there as long. I'm just like, I want to get out of here as soon as possible. But the thing is that psychologically, when you have more energy, you burn more calories, all the way up to 500 to 800 calories per day. And that is super powerful to understand because your workouts only burn 200 to 300 calories per day, right? Your activity, like the actual cardio you do, maybe burns 200 to 300 calories a day. But how your body burns food, how your metabolism burns food, with how active you are, with having more energy, but also getting your basal metabolic rate to use those calories more. Now your body starts to work more efficiently. The Krebs cycle and the glucose starts to actually work in coordinates with each other within your body. And you start to get more energy. You start to be able to do things. You start to push more weight. And as this happens, we're building leverage, right? So let's say that, you are at that 2,000 calorie mark. And slowly each week we add 25 more grams of carbohydrates. Depending on how you check in, how your body's accepting it, we can usually tell with each client. Maybe we need to take 2 weeks for your body to adjust. And we slowly get your calories up to, let's say, just 3,000. So now your calories at 3,000, you're doing no cardio, your basal metabolic rate and BMR and metabolism's at an all-time high. Then, if you want to go back into a fat loss phase, now what do we have? We have 3,000 calories to work with, and we have no cardio to work with. So now that we've optimized everything, we can create a deficit once again from 3,000 calories, rather than creating a deficit from where you're currently at 2,000 calories. So instead of going from 2,000 calories to 1,900, we go from 3,000 calories to 2,900, and we slowly bring you back down right there. And now you're getting leaner, but it's more sustainable because you're not hungry. We're keeping it slow. We're maintaining the fat we've lost, and we're psychologically taking maybe like refeed days to make sure that we're not getting too hungry. Because with these people, when you go through diets where you get low in calories, the thing you need to understand is like these diets, they're not meant to be sustained. Like a cut isn't supposed to be maintained. Your body's not supposed to be under 2,000 calories for a prolonged period of time. And what starts to happen is things start to get interrupted in the hormonal process. And so let me ask you this, like if you're at, 10% body fat, 11% body fat, whatever your goal is at, and you had to only stay under 2,500 calories, could you maintain that? Yeah, it's not that hard, right? So you're wondering all the time, like how these guys on social media, how these guys all over are so lean and eating so many calories. It's because they position their body that way. So you can do it a fast route, right? You can do a quick route where you're not learning anything in the process. You're not learning the day-to-day tasks. You're not learning the form of discipline and what your day-to-day looks like and what your routine looks like for this to work long-term. And doing these fast diets, that's what it does. It just teaches you to highly restrict, change nothing, just eat less and do more. Or you can do it the long way, do it right, understand the process as you go, create habits that are going to keep you there for the rest of your life, and only have to do it once. So even my clients, there's not many clients that actually re-sign with us. And like a lot of people say like, oh, that must be bad. Like, no, that's not bad at all. We teach them how to sustain it. Like one, it's the last coaching investment they're going to ever have to make. Some of these guys have come to me, have had 3 to 4 in-person trainers before. And they're like, yeah, he just gave me like a meal plan, a PDF, and some workouts that everybody else was doing. Okay. What'd you learn? With my program, these guys, the reason why they're able to make such crazy progress, the reason why we're seeing 100 pounds, 300-pound progress is because we let them understand how to do it, understand the day-to-day routine, keep them comfortable along the way, make sure we're not getting way too hungry, but they were also learning tactics, they're learning the day-to-day, they're learning the repetitive process of how to stay there. And that's what makes them keep losing amazing progress each time. So, I try to give you guys as much free content on my channel as humanly possible. I love this guy. I love all the guys on my channel. I love you guys following me, and I love giving you guys information every single day about how your body actually works. And if you want to go through my client testimonials and some of those case studies to help you a little bit more, by all means. But, I do work with a specific amount of people. I work with guys who are highly committed, guys who are tired of trying all these fad diets but want one final solution. And I wish I could give each one of you who are watching this right now your specific macronutrients and show you what it would look like, what we're looking for when we raise your calories, how your body works. But in transparency, that's for my paid for clients, right? And, I think that's pretty fair for me to give you guys every single bit of love and attention that I possibly can to help you break your fat loss plateau and get to leaner body fat percentages. But if you want the actual information, if you want the actual macro breakdown, the specific training programs, the community of 87 guys that I currently work with, and then also what the day-to-day looks like, and help with like your meals and what you should eat and everything in general, sign up down below. We are now accepting clients, and we'll jump on a call and see if you're a good fit to join the program. And if you are, we'd love to have you, because what we do is undeniable. You can go through all our testimonials, all of our transformations. What we do here is quite literally undeniable. So if that sounds like you, you're a hardworking man and you're busy all the time, but you're looking for an actual solution long-term, not just some quick fix to a fad diet approach, sign up for time alone. I'll see you on the call.